Look, we've got a new partnership here with the school system in Bridgeport. I've taught here many years ago, care really much about these kids, working with Mayor Ganem, see what we can do to turn things around. I know they have a budget issue. I know some of the kids feel like they're getting left behind. You know, they've had a lot of turnover in the Board of Education, had a lot of turnover in the superintendent's office. Let's see what we can do to help.
What do you hope to accomplish today?
They're going to be hearing from some teachers, get their take on how we should be doing better. Hear from the acting superintendent about the budget and how we can make sure we do right by these kids.
Just today, as I walked out of school, I had 3 extra food bags in my room, and there was a scramble because the children wanted to know, may I have that, may I have that, may I have that. We need to begin to really look at how we are going to support our families. There's not enough that is going around.
I've been in the district for 22 years, and for many of those years, I taught elementary school, and my class sizes were always above 25 students. When you have 29 students in a classroom who come with all different types of learning needs, and it's very difficult to differentiate learning for 29 students, where some students who literally just arrived into this country for the first time and may not even speak the language.
That arrived. I've been teaching bilingual for 60-something years, and those students come to me with a slew of trauma and experiences that they've had because they're migrating from other countries. You know, if they're experiencing trauma, that's all they're going to see. I can teach letters and sounds all day, and none of it's going to sink in until we meet all of those needs, which Bridgeport truly has.
You mentioned counseling may incorporate the family. Tell me about the family. How involved are the families in the kids' education? How involved are they in what happens when the kids get home from school?
Absolutely. So right now in the bilingual programs, so we are tasked with instructing them in English or Spanish, whichever is more beneficial for the child, with the long-term goal of them learning English. So what happens with families, specifically in my room, is that we then lack that engagement from the family. And the family's like, I really want to help, but I don't know English. I don't know any of English. So then many teachers get tasked with, okay, well then let's provide the materials in Spanish for them. And that seems to help. But again, still going back to the counseling piece, if they are struggling, students with trauma, whatever they might have experienced, crossing over to what most of my students refer to as la frontera, it becomes a huge issue, and it becomes a barrier for that, which we won't then see any kind of data and testing results that show any kind of growth because they're struggling with their trauma.
And I have been very creative in the way that I provide instruction to my EL students. Translate on my phone is my new best friend. I wear a headset in my classroom. I give my instruction in English, and then it plays to them in Spanish. And the light of it is to see the children in my classroom nod their head because they finally understand what is being said to them in a total English-speaking classroom. That is trauma. Trauma is children walking to school and not citizens, teachers, parents, not being notified that there was a dead body around the corner from the school that was not covered up. That is trauma.
Yeah, I know.
There's drug dealers on the corner that our children have to walk by every single day, and alcoholics and all of the undesirables of the community.
It all comes down to staff, personnel. We need people. We need people, social workers, guidance counselors, paraprofessionals, everybody to help out in that. Interventionists also for the kids who really need it.
I think like a lot of the things that my colleagues have already brought up, I think are things that we need to address. I mean, trauma is real. Kids are not going to learn when they're dealing with homelessness, which I do have some students right now in that position with. It's very difficult.
Because we are not going to get better. We are not going to be able to survive with suburbia. The length is only going to get wider in terms of the haves and the have-nots, and we are not going to even try to give our kids something.
I worked at a North End school here in town for 7 years, And you could drive no more than 3 minutes down the road and be in Fairfield, where they have 15 to 20 students in the classroom, and I have 30, almost 30. To me, that is an issue. We're talking about inequalities. Why are students, predominantly Black, children of color, predominantly working class students in these positions? When in Fairfield, and they have in Fairfield, what we all should be doing. Shouldn't we all be entitled to the same type of educational experience? And to me, this is the crux of the matter. It has been the crux of the matter for the 22 years that I've worked here, and will continue to until the funding issue is addressed.
I hear people say it's all about money. I look to leadership. If I made sure that every dime went in the classroom to support each and every one of you, I'd be stepping up every day to do more. We're going to do more in terms of families, LEAP program, knocking on doors, getting parents involved, apprentice teachers, so that some of those who said from the colleges, get them more involved and be able to help out. Meals, so these kids are healthy and well fed. Do what we can for those additional supports. But I've been doing this job for a while, so I get a little blunt. I think you've been let down by lousy leadership. I really do. I think I look at what's going on. You talk about, we're not getting enough in the classroom, we're not getting paid enough. You wouldn't believe how much they've added in your central office, how much they've increased salaries, tens of thousands of dollars. I point to your school board, I point to people who are doing this behind you. The money that's not going to your classroom, I think, is shameful. I'd ask the unions to step up every day and give the taxpayers confidence that the money is going into the classroom to take care of these kids and not a lot of this overhead. And you should be shocked by the turnover you have in terms of superintendents and fighting on the school board. I've been hearing this for 30 years, and I'm afraid you have too. I love you. You've been doing this for 40 years despite all that. And Joe Ganim, your mayor, is right there with us asking for this change. He's been pushing me every day to make sure we get involved, and that's why I'm here, because I think you need change at the top as well.